Human trafficking has been an epidemic in Nebraska, with hundreds of people being sold every day in the trade. Today we talk with the survivor of the trade to get her perspective on what's being done to stop it. Good afternoon, I'm Ryan Holst.
And I'm Stephanie Zambrano. Coming up, we show how locals are combating sexual assault in the community.
All this and more right here on the Omaha News.
From the studios of UNO Television, this is the Omaha News, presented by UNO School of Communication.
On average, around 900 people are advertised for sex on back-page websites in Omaha and Lincoln. Even smaller towns like North Platte and Scottsbluff average 10 to 15 people. These statistics make Nebraska a hotspot for sex trafficking.
From I-80 to the CWS, Omaha has become a center for sex trafficking because of the many people they bring to the area, a problem that has devastated the lives of victims.
Is anybody even going to believe me?
Socorro Campbell was once a victim of trafficking and now seeks to educate the community on the problem and the difficulties survivors face.
I think trust being first and foremost. Am I going to trust you? You say you want to help, or are you going to turn out to be like one of the traffickers that said, you can trust me? That's exactly the same thing the community is doing. How do we learn to trust the community that wants to support us?
Retired FBI Special Agent Anna Brewer spends her time working against trafficking.
If we are introspective and we look inside of ourselves, I think at some point we all have been vulnerable. The community needs to realize that anybody can be trafficked.
Brewer says society has to watch out for the most vulnerable.
People that are homeless, people that might have some type of abuse. Traffickers prey upon that. They look for people with vulnerabilities.
According to a study by Creighton University, 900 individuals are trafficked every month in Nebraska. While these numbers are staggering, community involvement can help resolve this issue.
Educating our youth about healthy relationships, educating our community that us as a community will have a zero tolerance to sex trafficking and labor trafficking, not just in our state, but in our country.
You know, as long as people are wanting to learn more about trafficking and educating and doing something to end it, I don't think we can do any wrong.
Out of all people trafficked, African Americans represent half of all individuals who are sold, despite making up only 5% of Nebraska's population.
Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan says he will not run for re-election in November. He explained his decision this morning at a meeting in the Capitol, stating that he wanted to spend more time with his children. Ryan pledges to continue to help extensively in the 2018 Republican campaign and to continue his fundraising efforts. He will serve until the end of this Congress in January, which will mark 20 years. Paul Ryan is the 40th House Republican not running for re-election this year.
Most sexual assaults occurring on college campuses are committed by someone the victim already knows. Omaha News reporter Danielle Meadows explores how the UNO Women's Resource Center is working to end sexual violence while empowering survivors.
It's casual, it's hidden, it's secret, it's sometimes unidentifiable.
Every 98 seconds, someone is sexually assaulted in the United States, according to an article by the Huffington Post. Less than half of those assaults are reported to the police. Assistant Director of UNO's Women's Resource Center, Bree Jensen, says the stigma attached to sexual violence makes it hard to speak out.
A lot of people like to blame the survivors, victim blame, and that's not healthy, that's not okay, it's awful.
Last week, Jensen helped with Take Back the Night, a rally bringing supporters and survivors together.
We have speakers there to educate people who are in the audience to know what resources they have to empower themselves.
Events like Take Back the Night show that survivors are never alone, but there's still much more that needs to be done to end sexual violence.
1 in 5 women will be sexually assaulted as an undergraduate student. That's a very high number, that's 20%. So if you think in your family, there's probably a couple.
Director of the WRC, Jennifer Benitez Albiter, says one way to help prevent assault is to teach the importance of consent early on.
More education, awareness, I think, would be great for both men, women, and anything in between.
Intervening at the earliest sign of aggressive behavior is also necessary because not everyone is able to protect themselves.
it could change someone's life. It could potentially save their life.
For the Omaha News, I'm Danielle Meadows.
No more human hate!
The UNO Women's Resource Center provides everything from feminine hygiene products to relationship advice. Its mission is to always be a safe place to report assault.
The air quality in Douglas and Lancaster counties were deemed unhealthy by state officials this morning. Strong south winds are pushing smoke from prescribed grassland burns in Kansas into eastern Nebraska. The controlled burns occur for a few weeks each April to provide better forage for cattle, help preserve the tallgrass prairie, and control invasive plant species. The Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services recommends the following steps to protect your health. Keep doors and windows closed, drink water to maintain hydration, and limit or avoid outdoor exercise. Contact the doctor if you have symptoms such as chest pain, chest tightness, and shortness of breath or severe fatigue.
School shootings like the one in Parkland, Florida last month are tragic, but they are still pretty rare. Unfortunately, bullying in schools is not. Keeping students safe involves not only protecting them from violence that may come up into the school, but sometimes from their own classmates. Omaha News reporter Justin Doring found a program that helps parents keep their kids safe by teaching kids to believe in themselves.
Dad, somebody help.
Run! Increased focus on bullying in school has concerned parents searching for options.
Grow up and be a great part of society, and that's what we're here to help teach.
88 tactical instructors show students non-aggressive methods to protect themselves and diffuse confrontations.
Kids usually love these classes. They're a little bit shy at first, but they start to definitely warm up, especially when it comes to being quiet and that it's okay to be loud. They enjoy that too eventually. So.
A spokesperson for 88 Tactical says they teach 2 classes in anti-bullying per month. Each class will teach 12 to 18 students. It's becoming increasingly popular among parents as they feel that the schools are not being proactive enough when it comes to bullying.
Lee wants her students to grow their own self-confidence.
You don't always have to be told, shh, be quiet. No, stand up for yourself. Back away, you're too close. Things like that. Absolutely. At the end of it, you can see where it all kind of comes together, where they go, oh, we can do this, yes. It makes you feel, that's why I love this job, is because they leave with a little bit more confidence. And that's what we're here to help with, is confidence and, like I said, being a better person, being a better part of society.
For the Omaha News, I'm Justin Doring.
We're not snap kicking.
88 Tactical gives 3 hours of instruction to elementary school-age students. Find out more information and enroll your child at 88tactical.com or find them on Facebook.
When we come back, we'll be talking about the potential of a new plastic ban in Nebraska.
We'll show the local movement for healthcare advocacy.
Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Stand by to come out to the open in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fade up, press 1 time.
We walk in straight lines, carved into stony paths, colder than ice baths and just as suffocating. Our breaths are just undulating to the beat of car horns and ticking, ticking time. Separated in forests of chopped, sanded, paint-dripping trees marked with rosewood X's. I've left enough houses to know these were never our homes, but the memories nurse us until our minds fade away just as scars on our skin.
You've always known you were a leader, someone who works hard to achieve your goals. You can see it. You can see your success in front of you. You pursue a college education for the old-fashioned reasons, to learn, to make yourself more valuable, to succeed. You need a place that celebrates your ambition. and positions you alongside visionary people just like you. You, my friend, belong here, the University of Nebraska at Omaha.
This is the Omaha News.
In early April, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services announced that 11 million consumers are enrolled in exchange coverage for 2018. Reporter Carissa Lauber talks about affordable health care and the CHI Health Fair at Midlands Hospital in Papillion.
For years, Congress has debated affordable health care, and recent attempts to repeal the Affordable Care Act have failed due to challenging opinions.
I think that there certainly are some differences of opinion of how to get there, but affordable health care is important, and I think that it's something we should pursue.
I'm for it. I feel that there's a certain number of people that feel like health care should be free. I'm not 100% for that. Too many people can't afford health care. Some people just choose not to have health care.
CHI Health sponsors an annual health fair at Midlands Hospital in Papillion. The fair offers free and low-cost health screenings such as blood pressure checks and lab tests.
Obviously, people would not take advantage of it, and then they'd let things, they wouldn't get things checked, and that's obviously important for their health. We want to make sure that it's affordable or accessible to everyone.
If you can maintain a healthy lifestyle, it's better than waiting and waiting and waiting until you know that something is wrong, but you don't know what. Then you go to the doctor, and too often you're in big trouble. More costs, higher health insurance.
CHI Health's mission statement says their goal is to transform healthcare and help achieve optimal health and well-being for individuals and communities, especially the poor and vulnerable. For the Omaha News, I'm Carissa Lauber.
CHI Health CEO Dr. Cliff Robertson recently said the organization wants everyone in their community to have access to health care.
Airman Timothy Wilsey was sentenced today to life in prison with the possibility of parole for killing of a 20-year-old woman. Wilsey, age 21, pleaded guilty last week to the premeditated murder of Airman Rionda Dillard, age 20. He strangled her as they watched television in her dorm at the Offutt Air Force Base, July 29, 2016. He fled in his car and was captured in Virginia 13 days later. Prosecutors said it would likely be decades before Wilsey is considered for release.
It's estimated that 19 billion pounds of plastic waste is released into the ocean each year. Omaha News reporter Mitchell Lineman discusses rumblings of a potential plastic bag ban.
Omaha Mayor Jean Stothard announced that she's willing to support a plastic bag ban. Some Omaha grocery stores are making it a priority to go green.
Well, personally, it means a lot to me. I think it's important.
Michael Schwartz, owner of Woolner's Grocery and Deli, says that on a typical day the store goes through 500 plastic bags, but understands why grocery stores are against the ban.
You got a problem when you run a retail business getting the proper balance, because sometimes it's just too costly.
Eliminating plastic bags from grocery stores is not going to be easy. Local area Hy-Vee's declined to comment about the story, but Woolner's Grocery and Deli is in full support of the ban.
I'm all for it. I think it's good for everything, to tell you the truth. It's a lot less waste.
The enormous amount of plastic waste in landfills has even the young people concerned. Omaha resident Max expresses his concerns with plastic.
Because you could litter, and then rats and stuff eat the trash.
Schwartz gives his customers an incentive to be more environmentally friendly when shopping at his store.
Like, I actually have my own cloth bag that I sell for $1. An incentive for my customers is if they bring back my cloth bag, they get 5% off their grocery purchase.
Omaha resident Brandeis Beckvar believes the ban will help educate Omaha residents.
I think that it'll help people adapt to more eco-friendly bags.
For the Omaha News, I'm Mitchell Lineman.
California was the first state to enact a bill imposing a statewide ban on single-use plastic bags in 2014. This bill has resulted in the elimination of over 5 billion plastic bags each year.
Coming up, we talk about a new movie production to raise awareness for an important cause.
And also, next week, we talk about the legacy of retiring UNO professor.
Stay right here. You're right where you need to be.
Film Streams is a nonprofit organization dedicated to the presentation and discussion of film as an art form by showing films from different countries, probably something a lot of people don't get to expose to very often, but that's something we can do here in the theater. We are in the middle of an extraordinary period of growth. We were gifted the Dundee Theater on 50th and Dodge. That does mean expanding to a second location, of course. We depend on our volunteers to help us make the theater run. Volunteers do everything from helping us up in the office. They could help us run materials around town, like marketing materials, posters and things like that. The biggest thing is ticket taking. If anybody is interested in volunteer opportunities in the arts, no matter what your age, it's a great opportunity. It's a happy place, it's an exciting place, and you're a part of a community.
I've been volunteering here at the museum since October of 2014. My favorite part right now really is the Bohemian Cafe. There's just such memories connected with the things that they donated to the museum. It's just part of the Omaha culture, along with the Czech culture. It's just such fun to have people come in and remember things by looking at what we have here.
I am a senior music education student in the School of Music. I'm a PR and advertising major in the School of Communications.
I'm a senior and I'm a communication studies major.
Senior, majoring in creative writing.
I'm a communication studies student.
I love band and I knew that I always wanted to be involved in music some way. There was never really any question of anything else.
I love CFM so much. They've helped me out a lot, just letting me know that they're here for me, that there's a support system.
It gives you such a good opportunity to grow and hone your skills, and I think you really learn things about yourself. And I know I've gotten opportunities at UNO and because of CFAM that I wouldn't be able to anywhere else.
The core reason why I'm a communication studies major is because I really just love helping people.
My favorite part about poetry is just escaping into a different world. I can talk about it for hours and hours.
What you like to do is like your superpower.
This is the Omaha News.
An Omaha native heard that 22 veterans commit suicide a day after suffering PTSD, so she took her military background and wrote a movie about it. Reporter Brittany Calvert shows us more about the movie Silence.
What started off as a music video in Omaha native Julie Hudson's mind has turned into a silent movie filmed all over Omaha about veterans who suffer from PTSD.
I wrote this story because it is my mission to honor and empower wounded warriors, and the best way to get the word out about it is through what I do, and this is what I do for a living, so I figured I would use it to my benefit.
22% of veterans suffer from PTSD or major depression. 1 out of 3 seek help. This movie helps bring awareness to veterans with PTSD. Hudson's husband, who is a combat veteran, suffers from PTSD and gave Hudson a hands-on experience.
Anxiety, a lot of depression, and hiding away.
The cast is made up of volunteers who have been affected by veterans with PTSD. They think this movie is very realistic to what actually goes on.
Goes from everything from the deployments to the suffering that everybody goes through, whether it's the soldier, the parents.
Hudson wants this video to spotlight all the organizations out there that help veterans with PTSD.
The Wounded Warrior Project is my #1 and ultimate. They saved my husband's life and have been there for us as a family.
For the Omaha News, I'm Brittany Calvert.
If accepted, Silence will premiere at the Film Festival in 2019. What is left of proceeds will be donated to the 22 Too Many organization.
The Omaha retail store Yonkers is planning to close by June 5th if a new buyer cannot be found in time. The 2 Yonkers stores in Westroads and Oakview Mall, which arrived in Omaha in 1955, could cease to exist in the area if the retailer's parent company fails to find a buyer. Yonkers' parent company has filed for bankruptcy, and a bankruptcy auction for the company's assets is expected next Tuesday. The 2 stores might lose nearly 400 employees and leave empty shelves in two of Omaha's biggest shopping centers.
A theatrical play can make us laugh, cry, or cringe in horror, but it can also make an important social statement. Over his career, UNO theater professor Doug Patterson has directed the whole variety of shows, and as reporter Analia Ramirez tells us, he's created his own social message.
Great opportunities, great people, great theater people.
Those are the words Dr. Doug Patterson said when asked to summarize his experience teaching at UNO.
The university wants you to do things. They don't just want you to publish and produce and whatever for some sort of, promotion thing, but something you really want to give to the world.
His journey at UNO began in 1981, and since then, he has been contributing not only at UNO, but to the Omaha community.
Doug's been a huge influence on how our theater as a whole approaches theater and social justice, and that has impacted our department and our community and our region.
Dr. Patterson's plays have won awards. He has been honored as a social activist and created the Theater for the Oppressed. He recently helped form a low-power FM radio station devoted to social issues on air. Although his time at UNO is coming to an end, Dr. Patterson will never stop sharing his talents.
I'm looking forward to being able to have time to myself again, to do some work maybe at UNO, to continue working at some of the institutions in town in terms of incarceration.
UNO is truly losing an amazing person, and his success will never be forgotten.
It's been a great ride. It's been wonderful.
For the Omaha News, I'm Analia Ramirez.
Dr. Patterson's final play will begin Wednesday, April 11th at 7:30 p.m. in the Weber Fine Arts Building.
When we come back, we talk about how local radio is moving beyond traditional media.
And then we talk with students who are concerned about personal biases in journalism.
Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
Brilliance is born in the dark. As a spark when dawn just breaks, before the grades, the praise, the views. Amongst the books, the smell of half-eating breakfast, the like-minded in the silence, they'll find you. You who sees more than meets the eyes and tirelessly chases ideas. Progress your muse, and failure your teacher. And those here see the same in you, the spark before the fire. In the lab, in the cafe, amongst the books. Because you are a maverick. You are brilliant, and brilliance is born in the dark. The UNO Chris Library, hours 7 to midnight, Sunday through Thursday. To learn more, visit unomaha.edu/Chris Library.
One, fade up one like a cue.
Recent studies have shown a possibly grim future for traditional media, losing an emerging audience to new platforms. Omaha News reporter Alex Westling tells us how traditional communications feel they need to adapt to stop falling behind.
According to a recent study by New York University, Americans born after 1995 will account for 40% of all consumers in the country by 2020. That same NYU study shows that the percentage of teens who listen to AM and FM stations has drastically fallen in the last few years.
You know, that's you hear a lot of those reports.
In a recent poll for the Jack Myers Knowledge Exchange, thousands of young Americans were asked what their two primary sources of news are. Not even a quarter of this new generation listed traditional television news as one of those sources.
I don't know anyone my age who actually watches the news who doesn't work in news.
To survive, you need to adapt. KPTM newsroom manager Nicole Ebot says that the newsroom needs to evolve by finding ways to bring the broadcast to you.
As opposed to telling people, you have to find a television, you have to sit down, and then we'll give you the information.
Ebot believes that traditional news will soon need to move more and more towards mobile. That to compete with social media, the news must have a more sense of immediacy.
Something happens at 2 o'clock and we wait to tell you about it until 5, 6, 7, 9.
Meanwhile, on the radio, program director Michael Haas worries that his medium may be falling behind.
I think a lot of radio operators need to re-evaluate how they reach their listener.
Haas says that the radio can keep up with increasing distractions and decreasing attention spans by, much like Ebot said, moving more and more towards mobile, streaming their broadcast through an app like his station does.
We continue to adapt and evolve, but certainly need to do a better job of it.
For the Omaha News, I'm Alex Westling.
In that same knowledge exchange study, only 6% of teenagers listed the newspaper as one of their main sources of news.
In a Gallup survey, only 44% of American adults can name an objective news source. Omaha news reporter Levi Kyle shows us how bias in the mainstream media causes viewers to not trust the news.
The job of a news reporter is to report the news and not offer opinion or tell the viewers how to think. But in an age of 24/7 news reporting, journalist malpractice is one factor that led nearly 2/3 of Americans to not trust the news, based on a Gallup survey. The survey also says the basis for media influence is partisanship.
I think most stations don't try to say they're biased. They try to say that they're equal on both sides, but it's very apparent from articles and headlines that they lean one way or the other.
Historically, the news has always been biased from what was known as the party press, and it wasn't until the 20th century when there was a push for more fair, balanced, and objective news. In order to avoid misinformation, you should never rely on one news source. Whether your news comes from print, online, or through mainstream media, viewing both sides of an argument will allow you to have a more rounded view of the news.
Get with sources that you trust, but also sometimes look at sources you don't necessarily, maybe not trust is the word, that you necessarily agree with, but that have their own perspective. And it's important to look at the other perspective as well.
For the Omaha News, I'm Levi Kyle.
Although the news has become less objective, 84% of Americans believe the news has a very important role in informing the public.
That's all for today. We'll be back next week with new and exciting stories on the Omaha News.
Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at the Omaha News. From all of us here at the Omaha News, thanks for watching.
We will see you next time.
Radio as a whole is just a place for anybody who's interested in, music, sports, news, radio.
It's a Rebel G production.
Mav Radio is my platform to show my ability and my skills, and also be able to reach out and meet other people and network. So Mav Radio means everything to me because it is me. My name is DK Kellum. I'm the music director, and welcome to Mav Radio.
Heartland Pride is an organization that promotes and celebrates diversity within the Omaha metro area. We host the annual Pride Festival, we host the parade, and we do host other events. Individual joins Heartland Pride, I think what they gain is a broader ideal of not only themselves but the community as a whole. In order to see a change in the community that I live in every day, I need to be that change.
You've always known you were a leader. Someone who works hard to achieve your goals. You can see it. You can see your success in front of you. You pursue a college education for the old-fashioned reasons. To learn, to make yourself more valuable, to succeed. You need a place that celebrates your ambition and positions you alongside visionary people just like you. You, my friend, belong here, the University of Nebraska at Omaha.
Girls Inc. is a place open to all girls from all walks of life. Girls Inc. helps inspire our girls to be strong, smart, and bold in the community. Volunteers can come in and just work with our girls. We have a lot of our programs that require supplies. Pens and pencils, to STEM kits, to sports supplies, office supplies. We know that when you educate girls, you better your community.